Here's my reaction to a bunch of negative reviews of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is a staple of self-development, one of the most successful and impactful in the history of the genre. Published in 1938, it has sold over 100 million copies. What's significant about Think and Grow Rich is that it's actually my favorite book ever. I've listened to the audio version at least 30 times with no exaggeration. I still listen to it once a year, and I've reviewed over 260 books on this channel. So that being said, of every single one of those books, I know this one best for sure. If you want more information on the book and what it's about, I'll link my review in the description. But if you do watch this channel, then you know that we like to open our mind every now and then to conflicting viewpoints. Times have changed after all. No matter how ahead of its time the Think and Grow Rich author Napoleon Hill was in his studies. What do negative reviews have to say of this book? And what do I have to say about them? And what do you guys have to say about them? Let me know in the comments below if any of them stand out to you. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because people shouldn't have to look this information up, it should just be mainstream knowledge, then make sure to smash that like button. Let's start with some 1-star Amazon reviews, shall we? I didn't think that these ones were going to be so detailed, so this should be fun, because seriously, shame on me. JB Reads a Lot said, a lot of things. To keep this video from being 75 minutes long, I'll sum it up. The two pieces of misinformation that he highlights from this book, visualization and the secret. Research shows that visualizing your goals and imagining what it's like to have achieved them reduces drive and motivation. And this is interesting. In fact, I'm not sure I've actually heard of this research anywhere. Research in general can be used to confirm plenty of hypotheses that don't align with each other. Is that the right use of the word hypotheses? I don't know. I started drinking white tea again. Hopefully this doesn't burn my mouth. Tea tastes like socks, but you drink it for the effect, right? Mel Robbins suggested toward the end of her recent release, The High Five Habit, to visualize the opposite in a way. Failing on your way to success, really visualizing that. Because if you want something, if you really, really want something, you're gonna imagine what it's like to have achieved it either way. You may as well imagine what it's like to trudge through the mud and continue climbing up the mountain when it's getting hard to breathe. So I don't completely disagree. Action is something you need to take, and it's completely unavoidable if you take it relentlessly, which I hate the fact that the book doesn't talk that much about that at all, but maybe Napoleon Hill did that intentionally. If you take action relentlessly with your sails of thought, as he calls them, facing the right direction instead of just whatever direction the actions take you in, the flowers might just arrange themselves. But if that action and those thoughts are not in the same direction, you're probably spinning your wheels like this guy suggests, so it makes sense what he's saying. On to The Secret. The Secret has a bad rep because of the very corny book put together decades and decades after Think and Grow Rich was. The Secret itself in Think and Grow Rich is something the author talks about a lot, like almost too much if you know what he's talking about. But he never blatantly mentions what it is because he so strongly intends that the reader realizes what it is for him or herself. I agree with that, so I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna tell you guys what the secret is. I didn't even tell you in my review, and my review of this book is like 25 minutes long. To know what the secret is for sure, you'd have to check out the book. This reviewer said that the only free cheese is in a mousetrap and that there is no secret to success. Any time you spend looking for a secret is better invested in getting better at whatever skills you need in your area. The secret, the way I see it, needs to be something that is in the back of your mind, not something that you are obsessed with. But there's a lot more to Think and Grow Rich than reviews might hint at when they mention the secret, like organized planning and persistence and finding the right people to work with. Nonetheless, the book is more about how to think on your way to becoming rich. That's why so many books that its haters recommend as alternatives, like Millionaire Fastlane or Rich Dad Poor Dad, are written by people who read Think and Grow Rich at some point or points in their journeys. Please do not think that Think and Grow Rich is about getting out of debt or living below your means. It's not. Anything else by Napoleon Hill along those lines is highlighted in a very basically extensive version of the book's teachings that came out decades before called The Law of Success. And I don't know what biases this guy is referring to because it doesn't seem like they're very specifically highlighted in what he's saying. Son Nien called it nonsense with tons of rubbish included. Two reasons he rated it so low are, in a large portion of the book, the author praises his own work. He even included a letter of which only purpose is praising the book itself and have nothing to do with the content. By the time I read that the 13 principles will make me rich, I had realized that the rest of the content would turn out to be rubbish, and I was right. How is it rubbish though? Is it just his self-praising? This one sounds a lot like an extended version of the other. The point he makes is all misleading. Whenever he addresses any point, the author completely and deliberately hides the opposite side of the arguments and just continue praising the greatness of his point and support by examples which every now and then are falsified? Falsified by what? What examples? The one part where he talked about Emancipation Proclamation in Think and Grow Rich, I think is a good example of him acknowledging the other side of a point. We all remember the date of this momentous decision, but few of us realize the courage that decision required. We remember our history as it was taught. We remember the dates and the names of the men who fought. We remember Valley Forge and Yorktown. We remember George Washington and Lord Cornwallis. But we know little about the forces back of these names, dates, and places. We know still less of that intangible power which ensured us freedom long before Washington's armies reached Yorktown. He goes much, much further into this too. And that's just one example. With the whole self-praising thing, I get it. I do. The way I always saw it, when I first checked out the book and I heard it, my line of thought was, okay, if these principles in this book are so great, what is it that makes them so great? What's so great about them? What we like to say on this channel is, if self-praise isn't completely intolerable, it may as well not even be a problem at all. Some people hate it though. For this book, for some reason, listening to its self-praise made me kind of curious. Plenty of it sounded like different testimonials. The beginning is full of them. I forget which chapter, it might be before the one about his son Blair, but that letter that this guy was talking about was from Jennings Randolph, a member at the time of the House of Representatives and eventually Senator of West Virginia. So it's like, if these people are getting so much out of this, maybe I can too. A lot of this stuff is really just about perspective. Jake W. said to forget this and just go buy a real finance book, calling it what? You know what he called it? Nuttier than a fruitcake. Please take note. No fruitcake for you, Jake. The first chapter or two, Jake got something from. But here's a paragraph that apparently just turned him off and eventually he couldn't make it through. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it into infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. What is this crap? He says. If you want to learn how to manage your finances, go invest in books like Rich Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, and Automatic Millionaire. In his defense, that paragraph is probably harder to understand than it is to dismiss as silly. If you want to believe you can get rich by sitting in a circle in the woods singing Kumbaya and eating organic couscous and not bathing, this is the book for you. Napoleon Hill's challenge with this book that he never spoke about, I think, was finding a way to explain all of it in a way that makes sense to people. The faith chapter explains the power of the emotion of faith and how to grow a faith in something. It sounds kind of out there, but people actually do this. The Fords, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, and the Edisons of today apply this info in that chapter without even realizing it. Check out the chapter, really think about it, and watch a few interviews. And try to pay attention for anything that you might hear about how they are accomplishing their goals and why they do what they do and how they think about that. You might be surprised. So it is practical info. Richest Man in Babylon, I gotta hand it to him, that came out in 1926. So that's its own animal for sure. But Think and Grow Rich was actually a big influence on the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. In 2016 and 2019, I looked this up, the author of The Automatic Millionaire listed Think and Grow Rich into 2 different blog posts as a book that will change the way you think about money and that you should read if you want to get rich. I will say that Think and Grow Rich is not about personal finance, saving, selective spending, money management, investing, what to invest in and how, etc. You will not learn that from Think and Grow Rich. You will learn from Think and Grow Rich how to think about money and how to see money with your mind and not your eyes. That sounds really ridiculous and weird, but it's true. I'm under the impression that principles in Think and Grow Rich like faith, desire, persistence, and more complicated ones like the sixth sense and the mystery of sex transmutation quotation, are very deeply hidden in the realities of today, even with social media and technology and mainstream news outlets and megalithic companies. It just further validates claims made in those chapters. On to the Audible reviews. An anonymous user said that it's about The Secret. If you're familiar with The Secret, where you think of something and manifest it out of nothing, it's the same ideas, and he/she should have known this before purchasing, because I really disagree with this idea that you can make money by wanting it hard. Execution matters the most. The author knew this. Like, that's why in the book you will see things like this changed world requires dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The self-confidence formula dictates that you have to demand persistent, continuous action toward the attainment of your goal in life. The book is meant to show how to think about that success and how to think about its attainment. He constantly talks about putting your plan into action whether you're ready or not. I don't mean to be rude, but do people just like not notice this? I don't know. This is coming from someone who listened to the audio version 30 times, but still. Like, all the stories are 100 years old, so in my opinion, it's also very unrelatable. I first checked out Think and Grow Rich like 6 years ago, and it was the most boring thing I ever heard, I swear. But I wanted to get rich, so I kept listening, and it started to make sense over time. Sure, the direction of my professional life changed a couple times, but I still love what I do. Jeff Bezos says to be narrow-minded about your objectives, but open-minded about your approach. Reed Robbins called it a Bible for the God of money. What? This is basically a Bible for the worship and prayer of money? I just don't understand this. Literally, they teach you how to pray and worship it. The leadership stuff is good, but nothing you couldn't get out of any other leadership book. The leadership section is pretty fire. And other leadership books may have spoken of similar principles, but this one came out like 973 million years before they did, so I don't know. But that's my reaction to negative reviews of Think and Grow Rich. Do I sound like a complete nut job? Is this all just kind of unreasonable? Or I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this where I react to negative reviews of books that are like really well known in self-development. If you did enjoy this video and you got something out of it, please make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.